So the GH6 is now officially available, and some people are wondering whether they should get that camera or the Lumix S5. My first camera from Panasonic was the GH5, and I loved that thing. But when I heard that the S line was announced, I knew that I had to try one of those full frame cameras. And the S5 has delivered. It's been an incredible camera to work with. Nice colors, good frame rates, full frame sensor for good low light performance. It's a good camera. But with these recent updates to the GH line with the GH6, many are wondering if it's worth going back to the Micro Four Thirds system. In its own way, the GH6 feels like the S5 of Micro Four Thirds. They feel like very similar cameras. And as I've thought about these things, I've come to two conclusions. If you're already a Micro Four Thirds shooter and you have the lenses and the gear, then upgrading to the GH6 is a very reasonable conclusion, and I'd say go for it, especially if you think you'll need those features unique to the GH6, like its frame rates, resolution, codecs, IBIS, things like that. But if you already have an S-line camera, I think switching to the GH6 is more of a downgrade than an upgrade. Now, I get that there are some advantages that the GH6 has over the S5, like improved Dfd autofocus, codecs, internal stabilization, but for the price, I feel like the S5 is still the winner. And that's probably the biggest deal breaker for me, the price. You can get a new S5 body for about $500 less than the GH6 body. And the thing is they offer very similar video features. I just don't think the minimal differences between the two cameras justify that much of a price difference. With that said, if you happen to go with the GH6, you'll have to ask yourself if those new features are worth the extra cash. That's really the determining factor when deciding what camera to get, is those features that you're going to use the most and whether that justifies the purchase. For me, I use a lot of slow motion and like to go handheld with my cameras, so the GH6 actually does seem like a real option for me. But I just don't feel like there's a big enough draw for me to replace my S5 with the GH6. At the end of the day, if I had the means to do so, I would get the GH6 as a B cam. So I'm curious what you guys think. Is the GH6 that much of an upgrade over its GH5 predecessors to justify its purchase, or is the S5 good enough? Drop a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.